This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so good afternoon and good morning, Johan.
Good morning, Caroline. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is Caroline Tapken, and I'm Executive Director of World of DMCs. And we're joined today by Johan from Cuba For Travel. So, Johan, how are you doing after the difficult couple of years we've had?
Well, Cuba is already, we're talking now June 22, sorry, and all borders are open. There are no requirements. You don't need PCR, you don't need vaccine. There are no masks requirements. So everything is open and free to come.
So back to normal again.
Yes.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. You're clearly not Cuban, so how you came to Cuba and what kept you there.
So basically, I'm originally from Belgium, Antwerp, from the north of Belgium. And I started working in tourism outside of Belgium back in the 90s. I worked for tour operators in several places, Mediterranean, Mexico. And then I ended up in Cuba in 1998. And for certain reasons, I stayed there. And I have a travel agency now since 2016. Before that, I was working in other travel agencies. And I do incoming services, DMC services for tour operators all over the world, agencies. And whoever asks me, that's what I do.
So, I mean, you work with everybody, individuals, groups, incentives, anybody who wants to come to Cuba.
Yeah, so if you like, what I do is I make it my brand to make trips. So I tailor-make trips for individuals as well as groups. And this can be incentive groups, it can be FIT, it can be anything. And I work with any market. Of course, due to the embargo of the United States, I don't work with the United States, but that's mainly because there's no market there. They don't come.
Mm-hmm. Where are most of your guests coming from?
Well, they come mostly from Europe. Of course, I have my clients from the area of the Benelux, of Belgium, Holland, but I have people from France, Germany, Eastern Europe, Poland. I have even people from Africa, from South Africa, from the north of Africa, from Australia, even a little bit from Asia, from Philippines and a few other countries, yes.
So as World of DMCs, most of our members focus on inbound group and incentive travel. So if you're talking strictly group and incentive, where do most of those come from? Is that Europe as well? Yes,
Europe. They come from Europe. They come from South Africa. I've done quite some groups from South Africa. Incentives, and then it's mainly Europe, France, Poland. They do a lot of incentives in Cuba. Benelux. These are the countries where I do incentives from, yes.
Okay. And are they specific industries or is it across the board?
No, it's generally automobile because of the American cars that are running around in Cuba. They always want to see it. But it can be anything, insurance. Usually I don't really focus too much on it. It's a matter of the client. But I really don't see, it's true that pharmaceutical companies, generally they don't come to Cuba because of limitations of the embargo. But apart from that, I don't really, doesn't really is such a point of difference.
No specific industries. You mentioned automobiles there. I mean, some of the pictures we see of Cuba have the old cars.
Yes.
What else does Cuba offer that other destinations don't particularly?
Well, it's a Cuban identity that people come to see. It's a unique country in the sense that if you see the street life, you see life in Cuba. It's you just have to take one picture, and you know that's Cuba. You know, you see the American cars, you see the buildings that are a bit falling down, but they're colonial. They are eclectic architecture. It is salsa music. It is dancing. It is rum, cocktails. It's the atmosphere of party, of enjoying life in a very simple way, not in a luxurious way, but in a simple, authentic way. That makes the identity of Cuba, and that's what people come for. And of course, there is nature. Nature has given Cuba nice beaches, beautiful weather, tropical forests, swimming in waterfalls in the middle of the jungle, nice mountains. So these kind of things, okay, that's also Cuba. But what most people come for is that identity of Cuba, to get to know the identity of the people of the country.
I mean, that's what differentiates you from the rest of the Caribbean, really, isn't it? That
Yes.
Identity, the cars, the buildings, the music, the lifestyle.
Yes, it's a time wrap, they say. You go there, you don't see the billboards of Coca-Cola, you don't see the commercial publicity kind of capitalist society. It's a completely different kind of ambience. It's going back into time.
Yes, definitely a time warp. So what are some of the most memorable group or incentive events or that you've organized in Cuba? Can you think of something?
To be honest, yeah, I have to go back. One of the first incentives that I did, and it was for me it was back, I think, in 2000, 2001. It was a real experience for me because it was a bit an out of the ordinary incentive. It was an incentive about 100 people with a high budget, but they didn't have everything programmed. They really they were open to things to happen. And after a few days, everything was going okay, but the client said to me, I need a highlight for the last night. I need a highlight. And I said, okay, what's the highlight? So we had a dinner in a colonial building in Varadero, right at the beach, beautiful scenery. And I managed to get the lead singer of the Buena Vista Social Club, Compay Segundo, he's an old, back then he was still alive, he has died, but he was about 90. And he was still playing. I'm talking about a guy who won Grammys, who is world famous as the image of Cuba. And I managed to make a deal with him. I got him to Varadero, and as a surprise act on that dinner, the band played for the group. And that was really whoa. I mean, I meet people sometimes in Varadero and they say, I remember you were there, but you managed that. And somehow they respect me for that,
That made quite an impact then.
Yes.
So what are some of the other, hotel-wise? I mean, hopefully you're not in a time warp when it comes to accommodation and hotels. What sort of hotel accommodation and general accommodation can groups expect to find?
So in certain areas of the country, like Havana, Varadero, and even Trinidad now, there are high quality hotels. So we're talking about hotels that are managed by international chains like Melia, Iberostar. They even have now a Kempinski. They have two Kempinskis in Havana. So we're talking about high level hotels. There is a So hotel, which used to be Sofitel of Accor. Then we're talking about really high-end hotels that can satisfy any level of clients. So if it comes to the areas of Havana, Varadero, there is really no issue about hotel quality.
What about the other end of the market? The really quaint, old-fashioned, old-style, colonial. Do you have some of those as well that groups can book?
Yes. Yeah, the thing is, there are many boutique lodgings in Cuba, all over Cuba, and I'm talking about colonial buildings, old buildings that have been refurnished a bit but kept their original identity, and they cater rooms. Now, for groups, these are usually not very big places, so you have 10 rooms, 15 rooms maximum. So for big groups, it's not really not a solution, but for FIT, of course, I use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And even there are many people in Cuba that own houses like that, live in them, and they rent certain rooms, and they cater it like a B&B. And
Okay,
that
so like a
gives you the
homestay.
opportunity to, yeah, to stay in the house of a local, to have that direct contact with the local, and to experience that lifestyle that people are looking for.
What's the best time of year to come to Cuba?
Well, actually, most people come between Christmas and Easter, which corresponds with the winter in Northern Hemisphere, in Europe, in Canada. That's when most people come. And the weather is also mild. I mean, it's not too hot. It doesn't rain too much. And you could say that that period is the best period of the year. But people come the whole year round. I mean, I have clients the whole year round, even in the hurricane season, which is September, October. Because your hurricanes, okay, it's about a matter of bad luck. I mean, it's not that you have hurricanes all the time, of course not.
Mm. Do you get much rain?
In this period of the year, so starting 8 May till end of October, it rains. You have these heavy showers in the afternoon, you know. When the heat becomes too much, it starts raining a little, an hour max. And yeah, but okay, you get used to it. I mean, just do all your things before 3, 4 o'clock, and you know it's gonna rain, and then in the evening it's okay again.
Take a siesta, relax.
Yeah, something like that.
So a typical tropical climate, really.
Yes, yes.
If somebody's planning a group trip to Cuba, how long would you recommend that they spend there? How many days, nights?
So most people, as they come from Europe, they have a long flight. So if you come for 3, 4 days, I can do your perfect program, only Havana, for instance, and do wonderful things. But people will say, okay, but I have to fly so much. So if I go, I want to spend some more time. So if you do an incentives, you usually do a combination of Havana, where is the culture, the identity, and you combine it with a bit of beach, which would then be Varadero because of the proximity to Havana. And then you're into like 5 nights, maybe 6, something like that. That is for incentives. I mean, if you do more like a sightseeing tour, you would spend like a week, 2 weeks, and you would combine with Trinidad and a few more things and take it more easy, slow pace.
So you've got enough to occupy people for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, people I've had a few weeks back, I had clients that took like 3 weeks, and they went all the way to the east of Cuba to Baracoa, which is a beautiful nature area, and gives you another image of Cuba. But okay, that's people who want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. What's your favorite place?
Well, I live in Havana, which is the best place in Cuba to live. But if it would be a holiday, I would say I would go to Baracoa, for instance, because it's really in the east of Cuba. It is surrounded by jungle. It's really a jungle town right in front of the coast. And it's surrounded by jungle and nature. Yeah.
So you really do have everything in Cuba.
Yes.
What are the souvenirs that people like to take home?
Well, people always take cigars, of course, and rum. These are the main products which form the culture and the image of the country. And of course, you can get a Havana Club rum, which they sell in all supermarkets all over the world. But if you come to Cuba, you might buy a few brands that are only commercialized within Cuba and who give better quality, like rum Santiago or rum Caney, which are the rums actually they are made, produced in the historic factories of Bacardi. So Bacardi is a Cuban brand, but they left in 1959 with the Cuban Revolution, but they abandoned their factories and their barrels where they aged the rum. And that rum that is aged in those barrels, it's only sold in Cuba under the brands Caney and Rum Santiago.
That's interesting. Are you able to do tours of those rum factories?
You're allowed to visit. There is a rum museum in Old Havana, which is very easy to visit in a walk in the old town, and it explains the whole process, the history of Cuban rum and sugarcane, which is the basis of it.
And
But
tasting?
actually visiting factory, excuse me, and tasting, of course. But actually visiting a factory, you're not allowed to do that in Cuba.
Okay.
But the museum gives you everything, basically.
The
Yes.
museum and the tasting, that's what's important, tasting.
You're right.
Is there anything else that the groups like to do particularly? Anything that is often requested?
Yeah, dance lesson, of course, you do that. The salsa lesson. People always ask to do I need in what they call paladares, which are private restaurants in Cuba. So it's a communist system where the state controls a big part of the economy. But restaurants, small-scale restaurants, they are allowed under private management, and they're called paladares. And people always request to eat there, to organize a dinner there, which is not a problem at all. There are very famous paladares like La Guarida, for instance, which is it's a famous restaurant, and it's in a historic building, which is really fabulous to go there as an experience. And of course, the nightlife. People ask for the nightlife. One of the most famous places is called the Fábrica de Arte Cubana. This is FAC, they call it. It's a place, by Time magazine, it is regarded as one of the top 100 places in the world. Because it's not a nightlife venue. It's only open in the night, but it's actually an artistic venue where they do exhibitions of art, all kinds of art, plastic art, but also music performances, DJ music. There are bars, there are restaurants, and it's all in an old factory, actually, an old oil factory, vegetable oil factory. And it's really very creative, an example of what Cuban art can do in a way that that makes it entertaining and interesting for people to come.
And of course, working with a DM, you find out about all these things, whereas if you're traveling by yourself, you'll never find out half of this. Yeah,
that's the function of a DMC, is to make you a program that suits your needs. If clients tell me I want to see this, that, and then I make a program for them according to those requirements, those interests. And we try to communicate, to talk, to get to a program that you want, so you don't lose time.
Fantastic. And what about the future, Johan? What's in the future for the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, the country should open up, is opening up now completely, and people expect it. Has been a bit slow till now. Especially if you compare it to the neighboring countries like Mexico and Dominican Republic. But Cuba is always different, so this is it's not so surprising. But I expect in 2023 to get again quite some volume. Yes, not the level of 2019, but to be improving seriously, significantly starting November, because here they always calculate the year is between November and October. Yes. That's the touristic year here.
Yeah.
So I think starting November there will be a significant difference in the amount of arrivals and people coming to Cuba, and having a party here.
Yeah, of course, for anybody considering Cuba, it's more off the beaten track. It's away from the crowds. It's a less common destination. So it's actually more of an incentive for people. Yes,
it's a bit different. I mean. It's not a hamburger you buy quickly in a McDonald's. It's a trip. As you think about it, you plan it. I receive requests from people that tell me, "Listen, I wanted to go before the pandemic, but now I want to go." People think about the trip to Cuba for a long time and plan it for a long time, and this is maybe also the reason why it is a bit slower now.
Yes, but hopefully it picks up again quite quickly. What about trade shows? Where are you going to be going this year?
Well, I would go to IBTM this year, but fortunately, I have a big group, or at least an important group at the same time. And as I'm a bit understaffed, like everybody, I will stay here and attend that group. So it will be for IMEX 2023 that I'll go.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can represent you at IBTM in December. We'll be there.
Of course.
World of DMCs, so you'll be represented. Okay,
I hope you can go.
Hopefully. We're working on it. Thank you very much for sharing all that, Johan. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
Just come to Cuba, no problem. I mean, I'm here, and we'll make the best program for you, and we're here.
Well, that's all the message that we need to give, isn't it? Come to Cuba. We're open, we're ready, we're waiting for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time today, and best of luck for the upcoming season.
Thank you.